Tomorrow, dear scorekeepers, it is another episode of your favorite podcast, The Score. Welcome to it. My name is Rocky Jones, EDI Director at Minnesota Opera, and as always, I am joined by my two fabulous co-hosts, the amazing Bynum and the amazing Paige Reynolds. How are you both today?
Oh, I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'm you know what? I'm actually doing great because I've been able to feel the sun on my face this week.
I mean, yes, but I'm gonna be a bit of a brat and just say that while this is wonderful and this is lovely, this 80 degrees and sunny, it was snowing last week.
Ooh.
So it's just a lot. Like 50 degrees, it's just a lot for me to process. I'm happy, but I'm also still mad at you, Minnesota, for putting me through that for the last 6 months. So it's just going to take me a second.
I'm choosing to move on and be grateful.
Okay.
Minnesota, where's that?
Yeah, well, what is it like in New York now? It must be lovely and
Oh,
spring-like.
Chalbu. It's about 90 degrees today, which
Oh, no.
for me is like a
That's
good
too
15
much.
degrees.
That's too
Yeah,
much.
that's beyond lovely, but it's been sunny lately. Yeah, like the weather has been the agreeable part for the most part of being back in New York.
What's the
I've been
disagreeable part?
reminded that New Yorkers are the disagreeable part
I
of
see.
living in New York, including me and including the one I live with. So
Ooh.
I am not accepting anybody around here from that, but yeah.
Well, today we are recording this on Friday, April 14th, also known as presumably Sasha Colby Coronation Day. And if when this is released on Wednesday, if that's not the case, my bad. Congratulations, Anitra.
Right, because this whole show has been a race to third place. Like that's been so obvious from the beginning.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And Mistress and Lux.
They're great. We will see them at All Stars in a couple years.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
But I mean, can we just talk about Sasha Colby for a minute?
I mean, Rue said it all, right? You know, she said it all. Sasha is like clearly her favorite drag queen in many a season, and how could she not be?
I mean, that's the thing. How could she not be?
Yeah.
Like, she just excels in every area to a degree that it's not even just like, oh, she's very good. Like, no, she's excellent.
Yeah.
Superb.
Yeah.
Poised.
Got it all.
Yeah.
Beauty. Funny. Fashion. Like,
to the point that it's almost not been fun to watch. It reminds me of when I was a kid. This is a little bit before your time, Paige, but there's Wikipedia. You've probably heard about this. We had the Dream Team, and they'd go to the Olympics, and it's like, y'all, this isn't fun. They'd be beating teams, 1,500-6, just these nonsensical scores. And I feel like that's what Sasha has been like. Like, she's come out a couple of times, and I'm like, I just would have stayed home.
I mean, unless I'm Anitra. And
I feel like
Anitra's the only one that's like putting up a bit of a fight.
Right. And the only possibility of Sasha not already having the crown at her house right now is that if Anitra is at her absolute best and Sasha slips up a little bit, and this is no shade to Mistress and Lux. They are great, but I mean they're watching the same show we're watching. They know what this is.
But that reminds me, though, since it is Gay Super Bowl Day. Speaking Speaking of sports ball, did I see you at a sports ball game
Oh my
the other day on
God.
Instagram?
Yes. I went to a Brooklyn Nets game that is basketball.
Okay.
It was great. I got to watch it from a box seat. Those of you at home
Mm-hmm.
can't see me doing quote fingers.
Yes.
I think they
Mm-hmm.
have a particular name for sports ball, but I don't know what it is. But it
I
was
think that's
like
correct. Box
box
That's
seats.
seats.
correct. You were
Oh,
sitting
okay.
pretty.
Well, look, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm an expert.
Yes.
They had drinks, they had food, it was good company. I only watched the interludes, so they're like dance interludes or whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't super into the game, still don't know the rules of it. But it
You
was,
put the ball in the net.
yeah, but how do you do that?
You throw it.
Uh, all right,
You
well, I do
bounce
know
it
the
and then you
rules.
throw it. Yeah.
I was waiting for a musical number, but all I got was dancing, and it
Hmm.
was also very entertaining. So I liked it. I might go to a different sport next time to see if I like different sports.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Make it
okay.
a thing. Lee tries sports.
Yeah, look at
Ooh, that could be our
that.
Patreon. Lee tries sports.
A very short but recurring segment of the show, perhaps.
You know, I have been to many professional sports things, and
Gross.
I have been outside in the bleachers and whatnot, and I have been on the club level in the sea. I won't do it now unless I'm in the club level
Yeah.
because, like, yeah, no, I need champagne,
Mm-hmm.
I need
Mm-hmm.
snacks. I don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
out in the elements
No.
because I don't care enough.
No, no, I mean not for this, right? It's not a Beyonce concert. Like I'm not going outside
No.
for this, but
Oh, and speaking of the Beyonce, Paige, we're gonna have to do a whole special, I think, about the Beyonce concert. I was thinking about this.
Listen, because I know I won't be able to keep it to 15 minutes.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No, it's gonna
Not for the out of body experience we're about to have.
it's gonna have to be the whole show.
We're gonna have to break down
Mhm.
the lighting, the sound, the choreography, the pre-show experience. There's gonna be a lot to discuss.
It's
So
our outfits. I have I just
oh my God,
don't know
what
what to
are you wearing?
I don't know. I don't know. I have so many thoughts in my mind. I have so many thoughts in THOTS in a Shein cart. I don't know. It's wrecking my brain. But just spoiler alert, scorekeepers, we are probably going to be taking most of the summer off to sort of figure things out. But I have a feeling we'll be back after July 20th
Yeah.
to talk about that. But we thought it would be really fun today. I mean, of course, there are lots of things going on in the news, but like, whatever, we want to talk about us. And so my husband and I bought this little party game called Honey, Everything You've Ever Wanted to Know About Your Partner. And so we thought we'd bring back the icebreaker game because we have this box full of icebreaker questions. And so just, just real quick, we'll just do one real quick just so everyone can get to know us a little better. Shall I pick one at random?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask that one. Who is your best friend? Because everyone's going to say me. So, okay, here's one. Is there any food that you don't let yourself buy because you know you can't control yourself if you have it in the house?
Ooh.
so for me, this is a very straightforward and easy no.
No. Okay.
I like food. I eat most days, but I'm not like a food person. And it's funny because Damien and I were talking maybe yesterday or the day before about how frequently I forget to eat. Like I do not have cravings, and unless I'm like hungry, it won't even occur to me to eat. So even if you have my most favorite food in the house, I might not notice that it's there.
Interesting.
Yeah, I had a feeling you would think that I was a little bit of a weirdo upon hearing that, because most people have that reaction. But yeah.
Well, I mean, no, I mean, I get it because like I was definitely like that sort of in college. Like my friend Lauren would call me all the time and be like, "Did you remember to eat today?" And I think it was just a combination of like my ADHD and the amount of work that I had to do, and just maybe like just generalized depression living in New York City when you're broke and 19. But yeah, no, that is not the case anymore, as evidenced by my ever expanding waistline. And the answer is gummy bears.
Interesting.
No, I do not do chocolate candy. I do gummy candy, and those giant like 5-pound gummy, like I've gotten those as presents from people, and I've said, "Oh my God, thank you." Like, you know me so well. When I left my last job, my boss bought me a 5-pound bag of gummy bears from Amazon, and I was like,
Wow.
maybe I should rethink leaving this position.
You said, wow, you value me.
You really do. You really do. Maybe if I had gotten one of these a few months ago, I wouldn't be leaving. I'm kidding. Shout out to Jane, friend of the show.
Well, mine is absolutely salt and vinegar chips. I love salt and vinegar chips, especially. It's partly maybe a sensory thing because of like the sourness in the salt, and I love it, and I cannot keep them in the house like that because I will probably give myself IBS. So yeah, it's a once in a while treat.
I love salt and vinegar chips so much, and it's so funny because it's such an adult thing, because I remember like having salt and vinegar chips as a kid and just being like, why on earth would you ever? And now they're so good. Whenever I think of salt and vinegar chips, I think of my friend Kristen, and we were in the grocery store and we were standing in line and she forgot to get salt and vinegar chips, and just her Virginia just came out, and she was like, she'd like shout, she's like, "Maureen, go get me some salt and vinegar chips." we still make fun of her to this day, like, "Get mama her salt and beans." Well, that was fun. Let's do another quick one.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, those are kind of intense. Who is your least favorite relative? Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, we're not doing that one. Okay, well, I think we all know the answer to this one, but which one of us is more likely to demand to see the manager at a restaurant?
Well, I'm not convinced that I'm going to restaurants since I forget to eat. So
I'm just gonna say.
What's your answer, Rocky?
Go for it.
Although you are not that enthusiastic with food, Lee, I think it would be you.
I was gonna say not the Sagittarians.
Y'all better be glad there's not a manager for this show, because I'd ask to speak to them now.
Oh, well, see, there you go.
It is not a secret that I prefer when things are my way. And if something isn't my way, then my expectation is there's a person to talk to shift it to my way. So I will receive that. I will receive it.
But can
It's
I say
positive. I think it's knowing your worth.
100%.
I think it's knowing your worth.
100%.
And I certainly do.
And can I say that when we were dating, Dennis came to DC and we went to brunch with a couple of my friends, and the service was just awful. They kept bringing us the wrong things.
Oh.
Like they were out of all the like out of some of the things that we ordered but didn't tell us until like we had been sitting at the table for like half an hour. It was just like terrible. And then they wanted to charge us all this money for brunch. And Dennis leans over and is like, I'll be right back. And I thought he was just going to the bathroom or something. And he comes back and he sits down, and the manager of the restaurant comes over like white as a ghost, so scared, and was like, just whispered in his ear, I've taken care of it for you, sir. And I was just like, what did you do? And he was just like, I had to talk with the manager. And I was just like, that is still to this day probably the sexiest thing he's ever done.
Her, my man took care of it.
Her, thank you. Don't mess with my man. Okay. All right, one last quick one. What was the most expensive mistake you ever made? College.
I mean, yeah, basically. It's not just college itself. It's all the decisions made within those 4 years.
Yes.
I'm still paying.
Yes.
I might put mine at something a little bit more precise. I had a flight from Shanghai to New York that I missed. And because of the way visas worked in China at the time, your visa was city specific. So I couldn't get another flight that was like that could route me to New York. So I ended up missing my friend's wedding.
Oh, no.
I know. And, having to, end up going back to Hong Kong. And what made it expensive is that despite that it was 15 years ago, she has not forgotten. And she will never forget. And she will bring it up when I see her in a couple of weeks, because every time I see her, she's like, remember that time you missed my wedding? So yeah, sorry, Jen. And yeah, very, very expensive mistake. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And if this were a lot of my other friends, I could just wait for her next marriage. But she's not that friend, so I don't even have that luxury.
Well, I like this game. We're gonna have to do this more often. This was fun because these were like little, like cute little short ones, little short questions. I like that.
Yeah, I do too.
But okay, enough about us, because we have a magnificent guest today, and I'm so excited. And we just had the most spectacular conversation. So soulful, so lovely, so smart, and just, I don't know. I don't have enough good things to say. World-renowned soprano Julia Bullock is on the show today.
Woo!
Yay!
And I still kind of can't believe it. But it happened. It really happened. So stay tuned, and we will be right back with Julia Bullock. You do not want to miss it.
Welcome back, Scorekeepers. Woo, we have a treat for you today.
Yes.
We have an absolute treat. The marvelous Julia Bullock is joining us today. Yay!
You're making me blush.
We are so excited to have them here. Honored as the 2021 Artist of the Year and Agent of Change by Musical America. Julia Bullock is an American classical singer who communicates intense, authentic feeling as if she were singing right from her soul. Yes. Combining versatile artistry with the probing intellect and commanding stage presence, she has headlined productions and concerts at preeminent arts institutions around the world. Born in St. Louis, Missouri, she joined the Artist in Training program at Opera Theater of St. Louis while in high school. She went on to earn her bachelor's degree at the Eastman School of Music, her master's degree in Bard College's Graduate Vocal Arts program, and her artist diploma at New York's Juilliard School. Since then, she's made many key operatic debuts: San Francisco Opera and the world premiere of Girls at the Golden West, Santa Fe Opera as Kitty Oppenmeyer and Adams' Dr. Atomic, London's Royal Opera House and Handel's Theodora, and so many more. She's also held several important positions as a curator, including opera programming host of the broadcast channel All Arts. She's also a founding core member of the American Modern Opera Company and artist in residence of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. She curated 5 thought-provoking programs in some of the museum's most iconic spaces. Period. See the diversity. We love it. She also has a discography, a growing one, a number of distinguished recordings. In November 2022, she made her solo album debut on the None Such label with Walking in the Dark, combining Knoxville Summer of 1915 with an aria from El Nino and songs from Oscar Brown Jr., Connie Converse, Sandy Denny, and Billy Taylor. The record was featured in the New York Times Best Classical Music Tracks of 2022 and named one of the 10 best classical albums of 2022 by NPR. Yay! Yes, which they said, with its smart, wildly diverse repertoire, Julia Bullock's Walking in the Dark is an album that shines, introducing us to an artist curating a career on her own distinctive terms, but also get into the social consciousness, the activism. As Vanity Fair notes, she's young, highly successful, and politically engaged, with the ability to inject each note she sings with a sense of grace and urgency, lending her performance the feel of being both of the moment and incredibly timeless. She's in high demand as a speaker on equity, inclusion, and restorative justice in the arts. We love it. Yes. Come on, an engaged artist. You know, we're all about that here. Yes, she is working with Long Beach Opera, Los Angeles Opera, Music Academy of the West, Sphinx Organization, and others, as well as trying to engage with local communities in each city she visits, and serves on the advisory board of Turn the Spotlight, a foundation designed to empower women and people of color, both on stage and behind the scenes, to make a more equitable future in the arts. We are so honored to have you, Julia. Welcome. Yay.
Oh, it's my honor. Thank you.
There's so many places. There's so many places we could start. I mean, you, again, the diversity, the activism, the art. I think maybe since it just happened, let's start with your debut album, Walking in the Dark, and what it was like to, I think, especially like curate that diverse set of music. Like, it's pretty cool how you have this thread of curation throughout your work. So talk about like what that experience was like, putting that out into the world.
Well, some of it was very stressful, to be honest. Because we recorded it during the height of the pandemic, and so like 10 days before working with the orchestra, my husband and I were in quarantine alone in London, and it was just that was just very intense on its own. But yeah, I guess honestly, I'm just thinking about this word curation and how that, I guess that has sort of been a thread throughout all of my work thus far, and whatever you can say of my career, I guess it has been curated in some way by me. um, um, just very, just trying to be intentional with all of my choices, and also with the repertoire that I choose to sing. It's not just a time to put my vocalism on display. I'm also really thinking about the messages that I'm looking to deliver and the ones that resonate deeply within me. And just wanting to share them with as many people as possible.
Julia, can we talk a little bit about some of those messages? Because to your point, I think from the outside looking in, your career feels very intentional, right? There are a lot of times you follow a singer and there's something very scattershot, almost as if she or he or they are chasing opportunities. And when I think about the work that you've done that I'm familiar with, it seems like there's so much thought and direction around what you were trying to communicate to the rest of the world. Are there things that you can share about the messages that you want to make sure that we get?
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the core of it, growing up, I was really worried, at least entering into this field of classical music, and also a field that's dominated by Western European classical music and also by white people. I was really worried about projections of myself and being not just misrepresented, but honestly, just being, I don't know, I was just so worried putting myself in this framework of a proscenium and looking. This is getting sensitive talking about this because I haven't spoken about it in a long time. But like being viewed as an animal, or being viewed as just not a complete human being. And because those messages were communicated to me so many times over the course of my young life, and the act of singing and also utilizing every platform that I have to show the wide range of my human experience, like, I guess that is the message. I'm wanting people to look at themselves and consider me as a full human being and all that that encompasses. And weirdly, that has to still be addressed. It's like, um, and it's for a lot of really heinous reasons, isn't it? But I guess that is the message that I'm trying to communicate when it gets down to the absolute fundamentals of it.
Thank you. And considering that Rocky and Paige and I met working in EDI at an opera company, at a progressive opera company at that, and we still recognize how necessary it is for younger people and people at an early stage in their career to hear that it's possible to do this authentically, is something that I think, warrants repeating. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also have to say the artists who I try not to idolize other people, but I definitely have people who've inspired me a lot and influenced me a lot. And every single one of those artists took, they're not even major risks. They just seem to follow their intuitive guide and like internal guide. They all seem to have a desire to sing a wide range of material. And they also thought really comprehensively about the experiences that they were giving their audience members. And, this goes from artists like Nina Simone to Regine Crespin to Leontine Price. They did not have the careers they had, or sorry, it's not even about careers. It's like they did not offer the music and amazing intensity and perspective and reflections haphazardly. It was with real focus, and that has inspired me just as much as their inimitable voices.
Well, so I follow you on Instagram. Um, and
Okay, Rocky.
yes, I do. And recently you had a post up with your new baby. Congratulations, by the way.
Yay!
Yay! And there was a phrase in there that really resonated with me, where you said that the work of opera is literally allowing us to share our full selves. And I think a lot of people, when they think about opera, when they think about classical music, especially, folks that look like us, it's maybe not necessarily always a safe space to be able to do that. So I'm curious, especially like given the last, 3 years of being humans living on Earth, do you think that spaces have opened up for you to be able to more easily and authentically sort of do that, to be able to share your full selves? Have there been new challenges, new opportunities that have opened up in these classical music spaces?
Well, I think I was in a unique position when the um, pandemic began, because my career already had a lot of momentum, and so yes, the opportunities continued. Yes, they increased, and new ones came across my path that honestly just exhausted the hell out of me, because they were asking things of me that it's not that I didn't even have a skill set to be able to participate fully. It was like, and convincingly in a role, but the institutions themselves were not set up to support suggestions that were given. And it just turned into some weird runaround circus, which honestly I don't have any mother effing time for. I just don't have time. And I never did have time for. But I used to make a lot of allowances for other people to waste my time and my energy. And so when you say new spaces that have opened up, yeah, new spaces within me have opened up. Like,
Amen.
okay.
Ashe.
That feels really good. Like that is the coolest thing. Because the opportunities from external environments, they're going to come and go, ebb and flow, and hopefully, everybody wants to be able to make at least a living off of their creative work, if they can, if that's like their life's passion, so they can devote more and more energy to imagining new things and creative endeavors. Oh, my baby is just weeping. Not weeping, he's moaning a little bit, maybe getting his diaper changed for a second. Sorry. I think you can hear that. But I like that the spaces that I have now the space that I have now given myself to express, like, really fiercely and pointedly all of this subject matter, all of the internal temperatures, all utilizing my full body. I mean, when we talk about singing, that's the full, you want complete engagement of your entire system. And I feel now more than ever before the ability to engage myself and without hesitating. And I know that progression has developed over the years, but it's like there is some new depth or space that has been made. And I don't know if it's since giving birth, or because of everything that has happened over the past 3 years. I'm not sure, and it doesn't really matter. But wow, I'm so grateful and glad. Because the worst thing in the world is to be stuck. Like, damn, that's just the worst.
Absolutely. And it strikes me as a very courageous act to step into those new spaces.
Yeah, courageous. I I have a lot of support though too. You know, it's um I can only be I can have a vision for something, wanting to do something. Any of us can. But if you don't have the support around you through the people, institution aside, it's like that doesn't, whatever. It's the people who are running it and giving you the resources and also not trying to define something before it happens and just letting the artistic process and the work, as you said, because opera literally means work in Latin. It's like if that work of practicing how to coexist, if like that is the focus of being in a practice in the rehearsal space, wow, like there's amazing things that can happen for everybody if it is actually a I'm going to use the word egalitarian because I don't have a better word right now. But if it is actually a shared, respectful space to create something, otherwise, we're just repeating really sick patterns of hierarchy
Mhm.
and dominance, which, you know, I am a fairly tolerant person, but I'm completely intolerant of that. So,
And rightly so.
and yeah, and it's like, and now, like, I cannot tolerate that culture in a rehearsal space while I'm working. Um, um, yeah, I'd rather just quit the project. But anyway, I do address. Instead, I usually just tend to address it. But it's like that kind of. I don't remember what your question. No, the question of being courageous. It's not that I am trying to go out being super courageous. I really want to be spending this precious time that I have with other people on earth in an extraordinary way. It's really as simple as that.
Mm. That's beautiful.
Yeah. I am living for so many parts of this conversation, and also must say that I'm a birth worker, a full spectrum doula. And so like the things that you're saying
Oh,
that
you
come,
are
yes,
amazing.
yes,
Oh,
the things that you are saying about how like birth like changes things for so many people. And I can absolutely see how even that, like just having stepped into the space of being a parent, which shift everything about how about how you show up. And I was just, when I was reading what you had to say about the experience of chest feeding and also having an exposed chest on stage and what it's like to have that experience specifically as a Black artist, especially a artist of a marginalized gender. I think of any marginalized gender would like, there's a specific thing that like comes with that, and trying to like showing up as your full self, you know, like really refusing to just distill it to one thing or put a neat bow on your image. And it's just, I was hallelujahing and amening all of that while reading it, just like, yes, especially in opera and classical music spaces. I'm like, I never see this and I want to see more.
well,
It's like, yes.
what was so cool about Kavanaugh Meditations for Josephine, this piece, where I do expose my breasts, for yeah, I guess it's like 40 minutes or something. I never was talk about exhaustion. I was never exhausted doing that show. And like I was on stage out there with Tyshawn Sori, amazing, you know, multi-instrumentalist and composer, and members of the ice ensemble. So it was 7 instrumentalists on stage with me, and it's like a very simple setup of a staircase and incredible lights, but it's 2 hours without a break that I am out there with this crew, talking, moving, singing, and I was never wiped out, even though I was talking, moving, and singing about some of the most painful realities of the Black experience. And because I don't, as you said, maybe it's just as you said, I felt I was able to walk out, step out as my whole self. I was not fractured at any point over the course of the run of those shows or even rehearsals. I was not dissociating from my tasks and from myself. My tasks, sorry, I'm like dissociating from my mind in that moment, dissociating from myself and from any part of myself. And that also is that feels relatively new over the past, I guess, year of performing, but certainly since giving birth. And I don't know if it's just because I only have exactly as much energy as I have to like focus and do the things on stage I need to do, because my attention is, of course, spent with caring for this young child. Or if it's because I've actually continued to heal and grow and come to know and respect myself more. And so I feel I can just, yeah, I don't know. It's like just pull myself fully forward. And also in that piece, Père Noir, because it's, I will call it an opera, but it is not an opera where I am putting on masks. It's actually, the whole piece is about removing them. And playing any excuse me, oh no, I did curse.
It's all good. It's all good.
But playing in every role and every little crevice, like offering every little crevice of myself and revealing it. It's like that. Not every role in opera allows that to happen, but this piece, in part because I guess I was involved in creating it, but the architecture of the piece asks that I live in the moment and actually improvise. I mean, the act of improvisation too, that's a huge one. So I'm really living out there, not repeating things and not trying to recreate.
Yeah. And I have like kind of a follow-up question to that, because like it's incredible and beautiful, and also, I don't know, to me kind of like also sad that there's not more experiences where artists get to feel that. And so I have this question of like, what can especially people who are in arts institutions, who are programming, who are casting, who are doing all the things, what can they do to make space for especially the full self of Black artists? Yeah.
Well, first thing I'd say is just have a legitimate conversation with artists about what they want to do. Don't just say, well, we have this opportunity and this opportunity and this one and this one and this one. That's like all preset. Can we plug you in? Can we plug you in? Actually, if you're really curious about these artists, Black artists, artists of color, anyone who the institution has marginalized at one time or another, you need to have a real conversation with those artists about what they want to do and also when they would like to do it. So there's no rush, there's no time stamp, and an open invitation. Like, would you like is there an open invitation to workshop something and actually present it for real, not have some workshop performance, but like the ability. How do you get experience doing something unless you're doing it for real? Like you can't, you cannot have like false or like little sidelined specialized performance opportunities. If you really want to invest for real. Take the time and get to know these artists and their full scope, the full range of what they want to do. Because it may not have anything to do with wanting to talk about how they've been discriminated against. They may not actually, not every artist wants to sing about that all the time. Like, of course, the hardships of oppression show up in just about every single opera that was ever written, and that's because it's a real issue, right? Like we have a real issue with oppressing people and not honoring each other. So, but even so, like not every artist is ready to or wanting to put themselves out there in that way every second, and to only be asked for opportunities that are going to help the institution. I'm not even gonna, I've never said check a box in any conversation in my life, but it's like I have seen now this, it does feel just sort of bizarre. It's like they have like the Black show. Mm-hmm. It's like I didn't think that I wondered if that was going to happen, and it has.
It absolutely.
It's like 100%. And we need to do the Black show for the season, for every season, maybe in perpetuity. And like honestly, great if you're getting a bunch of amazing artists and new voices and new compositions out there commissioning work. Great. As long as those artists are able to then develop a relationship with that house or develop a relationship with the people who are sitting on the other side of the table, and not just presentations. Like there's nothing more demoralizing than coming into a major space and feeling like you're there as a piece of candy that is going to be delightful and intensely flavored in the moment, and then what are you left with? The wrapper? Like it breaks my heart. Also, these institutions need to ask more artists like with whom they would like to collaborate, because it may not be it may not be the white men that they're used to circling around. Who would the performing artist like to collaborate with? Because they may not know the names, they may not have names, and honestly, many performing artists are great at directing themselves. Like they just need some additional guidance. Like they need their people around them, trustworthy people around them, to help shape a piece, shape a story. So just what is so important about the conversations and the efforts surrounding diversity, equity, inclusion? Well, it's to have more diverse thought and more diverse experiences brought into spaces. And unfortunately, or not in our world, it's just a reality. Your skin color, walking through the world with a skin color or with some marked identity other than white cis male, will guarantee that you have a diverse thought and experience. Like it just guarantees it.
Well, can I ask a follow-up to that? Because I feel like what what you're describing captures so much of what I found to be the tension of working in EDI and classical music, right? Where you recognize, and you know, I think for those of us who are underrepresented ourselves, like you feel very deeply this desire to make more opportunities. And while you're doing it, you also recognize the clunkiness of the opportunities you're making, right? Because there's so many instances, you know, you're like literally trying to like elbow your way into an opportunity for somebody in hopes that your coworkers, like they start to, you know, those wheels start turning for them, and they start moving differently, right? And a thing that I wonder about, especially because I don't work in classical music or in EDI anymore, and perhaps that is its own conversation at some point, but part of what I'm curious to hear, do you feel like we got anything from the last, you know, 3 years post the murder of Mr. Floyd, when everybody turned on that black box that day, and then all of a sudden everybody was like, okay, y'all, we're going to try to do something. We're gonna do a thing. Did we get anything from that experience?
I mean, undoubtedly, but I guess I'm glad that there is consciousness around these issues that have been ongoing for centuries. That consciousness has increased. It increased. What are people doing with that increased awareness? I mean, some people's reactions are knee-jerk in the exact opposite direction, or hyper defensive. But I'm not really, I guess I'm trying not to preoccupy. Well, I'm not saying I'm not trying. I am not preoccupying myself with the stunted responses and the failed follow through, because and maybe I am privileged, I know this, but I have been able to continue to create cultures that I feel really good about in the spaces where I work, and shift the cultures in the spaces where I work. And that also I feel really good about. I've gotten feedback from major presenters who have hired me for things, and they've said, you know, after having worked with you, we now understand much more deeply and better what our job actually is. And it is to be in service. And it's like, I'm so glad that those words were the exact ones that came out of their mouths, because have come out of many of their mouths, because I also feel that is my job. Like, I'm in service to many, many things and many people and many eras through the act of singing and putting that singing or performing, whatever that is, out on stage. And so then these places be helping artists serve as they want to serve and share. Like, that should be honestly, like their only focus. How do we make this the safest, easiest, most enjoyable, comfortable, inspiring space for human beings to traverse? How do we do that? That should really be their only concern, not about the production value or any of the other. I mean, because all that will come. Mm-hmm. All of that comes from people who actually really care about their jobs. Like, all of that will come. Mm-hmm. You don't need sleek anything put on it. Anyway. Sorry, I don't even know if I answered your question, Lee.
No, you absolutely no, you absolutely did. And you know, I'll tell you, the thing that's challenging about it is, one, on the administrative side, there are fewer opportunities to sort of check our progress, right?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to know, because as you point out, so much of it is so localized, and it would mean a lot to hear from a particular Black soprano or, you know, Asian American tenor would come in and say, this process was easier for me than it was somewhere else. And that is a win. And then again, at the same time, some days you would feel like I'm trying to empty the ocean with the teacup, right? Because the
Mhm.
scale of the issue was so massive, and it literally was like, I'm also able to touch one artist or one kid at a time. So I appreciate
Yeah.
hearing that, because being reminded that, like, even if you are only touching one person at a time, that's significant, and it absolutely
It is.
matters.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I have to say, in my position, I Lee, you and I in particular have talked about this so many times that, like, I just have felt this responsibility, like every person of color who comes off that elevator, I have to, dismantle hundreds of years of white supremacy in this space in order to make. And it's only recently that I have really kind of taken a step back and been able to kind of look at what I'm doing
Mhm.
and say, like, okay, well, there are going to be these people in this space who I'm never going to reach. It's like, that cliche, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I've got free water in my office. If you want some, feel free to come have some, whatever. I actually don't really care. But what I do care about is, like, on that individual level. Like, just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, we had a non-binary Black singer who was hired for a show, who came into my office and wanted to talk about a microaggression that they had experienced at an after party from one of, I don't know if it was a patron or a donor or whoever, and being able to sit down with them and to express that, like, okay, well, that's horrible that happened to you. But please don't ever feel like the reputation of this institution is more important than your humanity. So if that ever happens to you ever again,
Mm.
feel free to say something. And if somebody has something to say about that, then call me. And I will Kool-Aid Man into whatever space I need to and start throwing some elbows. And
Yeah.
that interaction, for me, like, in that moment, I was just like, oh, that's what this is about. And, like,
Mm.
we can have a hug, and this person can go off into their day knowing that they can be their full, complete self in this space, and they have permission to be able to do that, and the support to be able to do that. And that's what I feel like
Mm.
it's
Yeah.
about,
Mm.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So I'm curious, going back to what Paige was talking about with the institutions. um I'm thinking about the other side of that, and thinking about this young artist that I was just talking to. What is the advice that you would give to young artists of color, disabled, or trans, non-binary, queer, or other marked identities who want to embark on this career and also, be their full selves? Because
Mm.
obviously it's still, as progressive as some institutions are, it's still kind of scary sometimes to do that, especially when you're young. So what are your thoughts on that, or any advice you might impart?
Mm-hmm. I'd say share what you're. I'm just trying to reflect on like early performances that I gave when I walked off stage knowing the content of this is totally right. And I know that it's hitting people, but I'm feeling broken in the process of sharing it. Even if it was like a recital that I put together, right? Something that all we're talking about messages, these are all things that I really wanted to share, wanted to sing, knew were important to sing. And also there was a part of like I felt really called and ready conceptually to offer, like in the privacy of my bedroom. But the process of going out on stage didn't just challenge me, it like really wore me down.
Mhm.
And like just psychologically. And then it had an impact on my voice. And I didn't have, it's really hard to balance. Like when you can conceive of something or you know what the thing, like you can identify the thing that you need to be doing, whatever that intangible thing is, but you don't always yet have like the full skill set to support it. That I again, I don't even know if this is a piece of advice, because I honestly, I still just charged ahead and did all the things. But it did come at a cost. And I did have to find ways to like recover and heal, because it wasn't a welcoming space. Like, even if people were applauding,
Mhm.
it wasn't a genuinely welcoming space. It wasn't a genuinely safe space. And I didn't feel safe within myself. So I guess what I would just say is like, make sure, we're just talking about support, and honestly, again, it's just an example of that. Make sure you have as much support around you as you need. And whatever parts of you you're doubting, whether it's a technical, singing thing, or just this skill of, I don't even know what, it could be an infinite number of things. Just make sure that you're seeking out the help that you need, and that you feel totally like, as time goes on, you are continuing to learn in the process. Because yeah, I was asked the other day, like, well, why do you sing? And it took almost an hour-long interview to like I said, I mean, I initially was just like, because I love it. But like,
What a question.
yeah, but it's like because I get to learn all the time. That's why I sing.
Mhm.
And I guess I would just say, for any artist where you want your identity to be a part of your work. And honestly, I don't know there's no artist in the world, whether it's a composer, a writer, musician, actor, there's no artist I know who does not in some way infuse their identity or their identity is somehow infused and infiltrated into their work.
Mhm.
And also because they're reflecting not only on their own experiences, but they're reflecting on what's going on around them. Anyway, if you want that to be a part of your life, and not just cutting yourself out and pasting it into different shows and different experiences, but you really want to give of yourself, just know that it's all in service of your learning also. It's like not just you're not just up there to teach people things. You're there to learn.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I am looking at the clock, and I wish we could have this conversation all day, but I know you have things to do, little babies to take care of, places to be. So, last question for you. What is next for Julia Bullock in 2023? What can people look out for, and where can they find out all the things?
Well, all the things. Well, come over. Just come to Munich. You can definitely find out all the things.
Okay.
But yes. Well, obviously, I have every performance is on my website. If you're wanting to go there, it's just juliabullock.com.
Okay.
And I'll be Instagram. I also, and Facebook. I'm posting less. I have so much amazing stuff I want to share, but I have like no time to actually get it up there. But yes, anyway, of course, please, if you do want to engage in any way, honestly, I do read and respond to every message every message that I've sent, on Instagram at least. And yes, I'm just living life, singing, traveling, trying to rest when I can. And, I think I'm enjoying most hours.
Nice. Well, that's all we can ask for, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, all those links will be down in the show notes. Everybody, please go follow Julia and go buy her albums and listen to her incredible music. We were so honored to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. I know you're so busy, but this was such a beautiful conversation.
Rocky Lee, no, my pleasure. Genuine pleasure.
All right, everybody, and we will be right back with Pure Black Joy. Thank you, Julia Bullock.
Thank
Woohoo!
you. Yay!
And we are back. Thank you so much to Julia Bullock for being with us. That was amazing and fantastic.
Amazing.
So happy. So happy. But if that's not enough pure black joy, are you ready, Paige?
Ready.
And a 1 and a 2 and a 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly with a baseball bat. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. PB&J time.
So sweet. Zoom just kind of wanted to remix that one a little bit, though. I was trying to clap along, so not my fault, it was Zoom. But yes, this is Pure Black Joy. This is where we talk about the Black people, places, things, ideas, culture that is making us happy this week. And I'm just going to start off with Tennessee GOP. You tried it.
You
tried it. You tried it. So shout out to Representatives Justin Jones and Justin Pearson. And thank you so much for your service. And it's just I wish I could be there to see the faces of all those people when y'all walk back into that chamber.
Cracked.
To do face crack of the century.
Yeah.
So that's my
It'd
pure black joy. Just short and sweet for me.
Jesus. That one's wild.
Yeah. Mine's also pretty short and sweet. By now, you have probably heard, if you haven't, you might have been living under a rock, about the LSU women's basketball team winning that championship. And my pure black joy is Black girls with attitudes, Black girls who are confident, Black girls who are cocky even. Yes, I live for it. Black girls who are cocky and back it up because they're the best and they know it and you can't tell them otherwise. Specifically, Miss Angel Reese, I live for her. Yeah. This is an Angel Reese fan club, actually. And Alexis Morris and Flau'jae Johnson, who's also a rapper, a cold rapper at that.
That sounds like such a good name
rappers.
for a rapper.
Hello, Flau'jae.
Flau'jae.
You ain't even got to change your name.
Okay.
Like, shout out to them. Like, they're just incredible. They are incredible. And I think also this had like some of the highest viewership of any sports, like college sports. And usually, I mean, we know how people try to play women's basketball and act and not play them as much, women's sports in general across the board. So it was also just exciting to see their example for people everywhere, but especially young Black girls. I'm living. I hope they just keep going to infinity and beyond and have incredible, fantastic careers and continue to get that money for their talent as well. Them deals. I see you girls get the bags, secure the bags. I love it. I'm living for it. It's giving me so much joy. Yeah.
Well, mine is also related to sports. So that was a fantastic
You're
segue.
so sporty this week.
Yeah, don't get used to it. So this week, Megan Rapinoe, Sue Bird, and a bunch of other athletes wrote a letter supporting trans athletes relative to all of these laws that are popping up here and there that are trying to oppose them, and particularly looking at the federal legislation that the White House supports, that while it doesn't allow for blanket bans on trans athletes participating in sports in high schools, it also doesn't make it illegal to have such bans, right? And I really appreciated hearing the voices of a lot of athletes, especially women's athletes, who are so frequently sort of spoken for. You hear a lot of people saying things, many of them inane, around, but what if this happens and then women athletes can't do this, that, and the third? And I thought it was really great to have a group of world-class women athletes coming forward and saying, oh, we're fine. We support our trans siblings in being able to play, right? Because I think if there is something to figure out about how this is supposed to work, then we should figure it out. But banning people from being able to participate in sports is not the way. And this is coming from a person who, until maybe about a week ago, I don't know that I believed that sports were real. So this is my new soapbox, and I will be on it every week until they don't give Angela Bassett another award and I have something new to be mad about.
The only sport you knew about was Quidditch.
Oh, nice one, James.
Thank you. Well, don't get me started on that lady, though.
Ooh, we'll let her have it another time.
Indeed. We'll turn into the read. All right, everybody. Well, that is our show for today. I hope you all had as much fun as we did. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to Julia Bullock for being with us. Thank you so much to my beautiful co-hosts for being here with me on this beautiful Friday.
Thank you.
And for all of you out there, you can support us by leaving a review. 5 stars, please. 5. I'm not playing. 5. I don't want anything other than that. And if you leave some words, we might read it out on the air. But also subscribe on your favorite podcast app or words of choice. And of course, tell all of your friends about us because we are fun. I guess before we go, any words of wisdom?
Oh yeah, Champion is playing at the Met. If you are in the New York City region, please go see it, because if we don't support works by Black artists, people may not continue to program them.
Absolutely. 100%. Are you planning to go see it soon?
I am planning to see it twice.
Nice.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, next time you'll have to tell us how it is.
I'll tell you all about it.
Okay,
yes.
Sounds good. Well, can't wait for that, and we will see you all in 2 weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Get Mama her salt and beer.